Let me show you something about self-inquiry almost everyone misses. If you ask yourself the question, when am I? Notice something interesting. Your mind tries to answer in time, but who you are exists only now. In this video, I'm going to share 4 things that can actually make self-inquiry work. And the first is to use a question that the mind cannot answer. And when am I is a really good example of that. And it's something I used for a long time. If you ask yourself, when am I? And the mind answers now, it's already missed the now to which it refers. So thinking actually only exists in past and future. It can never actually capture this moment. So when you ask yourself a question like, when am I? You can't answer it because as soon as a thought comes up, it's gone. When am I can only refer to the presence that exists prior to thinking, prior to the mind. And then it's about resting there. The second tool is about making it experiential rather than conceptual. So if we take another question, which I've written there, where am I? Most people tend to feel that they are fundamentally located behind the eyes, looking out on the world. And a big part of that is down to the fact that the visual field is so strong, but there can be sensations there too that we take to be me. But if I say, take your attention to the soles of your feet and just notice those tingly sensations or whatever it is that we call sensation there. And keeping some attention there, then just see where the I that is aware of those sensations is in your experience. Because it's not in the head. There are thoughts in the head, there are sensations there, but a thought is not aware. So the sensation on the soles of your feet and the awareness that knows the sensation arise together. They're not separate. You can't find the I we think we are anywhere in the body, certainly not in the head. In fact, you can't find it anywhere in space and time. And self-inquiry experientially can get you to really get that. The third tool is intention. And intention is incredibly powerful. If you have an intention, it's all about commitment. It's not hope, it's stronger than that. It is commitment. If I intend to go to the park at lunch, I'm going to go, barring some completely unforeseen scenario that waylays me. And so having that intention is really important. And if you work with the classic self-inquiry question, who am I? And you really intend to know the answer, not through the mind, but really have that intention, often there will be some fear showing up. And that's a good sign, because fear can be an egoic recognition that the ego is basically facing its own annihilation. When I was working with who am I before I had a shift, a tremendous amount of fear came up for me. And I genuinely felt like I was losing my mind. And in a way, I was. Because you are waking up from the mind or mind identification. So having a really committed intention to know the answer can make a world of difference. Which brings me to tool 4, which is about surrender. If you haven't had a shift, you can't imagine what it will be like. Why do I say that? Because imagination is thought, and thought can't get it. Surrender is about stepping into the unknown, which is also why we get that fear. We don't know what's going to happen, whatever we think. And so that's why I asked the universe to be gentle with me. just before things changed. And as I've shared a few times, when I was walking down the street when I came home, and I had this direct experience, this knowing of it's all me and emptiness, I couldn't really think about it because the mind can't get it. And that's why in my conversation with Henry Schuckman, he so brilliantly said, yeah, the mind is not invited to the party. So surrender into the unknown, and you'll know when you know. The important thing I would say is to not keep self-inquiry at the level of the mind. You've probably heard people, or you may have heard people talk about self-inquiry very simply being the recognition that we're not our thoughts, we're not our sensations, we're not our perceptions, etc. And that's true, but the Neti-Neti method, which that is not enough. I was reading Ramana Maharshi's book, or a book written about Ramana Maharshi called, I think it's not Be Here Now, something like that. And he makes it very clear. He made it very clear that that is not enough. It is an experience. So don't just play with self-inquiry at the level of the mind. A line I like is, if just listening to someone tell you who you are was enough, then everyone would have been enlightened a long time ago. But clearly that's not the case. So you've got to transcend the mind. You've got to take it out of the realm of concepts and thinking and mind stuff and into direct experience. Now, there is a 5th tool that can absolutely supercharge everything I've shared. And if that's something of interest, I do share that relationally in my coaching. But the 4 tools I've already shared can absolutely make self-inquiry far more powerful than just thinking about it, than just pondering it, or indeed just robotically saying, who am I? Who am I? And self-inquiry itself is immensely powerful. It is the thing that gave me a shift, that returned me to presence, or revealed that I'd never left presence. And the 4 tools I've shared can really get you comfortable with self-inquiry. And self-inquiry can take you all the way there.